The humans of Earth were different from other species in the galaxy. They weren't the strongest or the fastest, but they could adapt to almost anything. For over 200 years since joining the galactic community, humans quietly accepted unfair treatment from alien races. Jiwo Kim was the captain of Earth's main diplomatic ship, the Perseverance. She had dark eyes that missed nothing and a calm voice that hid her true feelings. Today, she stood in the great circular hall of the Galactic Council, watching as alien representatives argued about the destruction of a human colony. "The loss of your settlement on Epsilon 4 was unfortunate," said Counselor Traz, a tall being with blue scales who barely looked at Jiwo as he spoke. "But clearly it was an accident. The Draconian ships were merely conducting standard military exercises." Jiwo's hands tightened behind her back. 10,000 humans had died when Draconian warships had fired on the colony. The evidence of deliberate attack was clear, but the Council ignored it. "We request compensation for the families and punishment for those responsible," Jiwo said evenly. Ambassador Krill, a bulky creature with 6 eyes, made a sound like stones grinding together, his species' version of laughter. "Do humans even have the brain capacity to truly mourn their dead? My scientists suggest your emotional responses are merely programmed reactions, not true feelings." The chamber filled with alien laughter. Jiwo stood perfectly still, her face a mask. This was not new. For centuries, humans had been treated as lesser beings, their territories taken, their ships stopped and searched, their discoveries stolen. Back on her ship later, Jiwo stared out at the stars. Her second-in-command, Officer Juno Park, stood beside her. "How much longer will we take this treatment?" he asked quietly. "I don't know," Jiwo answered, though she suspected the answer was, not much longer. That night, as Jiwo prepared for sleep, her communication screen lit up with a message from Earth Command. The sender was Admiral Sun Woo, the head of all human space forces. "Captain Kim, the Draconian attack was the third unprovoked assault on human settlements this year," the Admiral's message read. "Earth Central has been monitoring the situation closely. We believe the Council species have mistaken our patience for weakness. They do not know what humans are truly capable of." Jiwo read on, her eyes widening at what followed. For over a century, humanity had been building in secret. Deep under the ice of Europa, in hidden bases on Mars, and in asteroid facilities with fake identities, human scientists had developed technologies far beyond what they showed to the galaxy. While pretending to struggle with basic interstellar travel, they had perfected ships that could fold space. While appearing to use simple weapons, they had created defense systems that could neutralize any known alien technology. "We've waited, hoping the Council species would accept us as equals," the Admiral's message continued. "We've shown restraint when our people were killed. We've been patient when our resources were stolen. But there is a limit to patience, Captain Kim." The next morning, Jiwo received another message while her ship orbited the Council homeworld. A Draconian fleet had attacked another human colony, this time at Tau Ceti. But unlike before, the small human defense ships hadn't fled or been destroyed. Instead, witnesses reported seeing the human vessels suddenly transform, revealing advanced weapons that cut through Draconian shields like they weren't there. The entire Draconian fleet had been disabled in minutes. No lives had been lost, the humans had used precision weapons to target only engines and weapons systems, then evacuated the alien crews before destroying their ships. As reports flooded in, Jiwo's communication screen lit up again. It was Earth Command, and the message was simple: Protocol Omega authorized. Jiwo knew what this meant. The time for hiding human capabilities was over. The time for accepting mistreatment had ended. She called her crew to the main deck. "For generations, humanity has waited patiently for acceptance," she told them. "We hoped for respect and fairness. That patience has now run out." As she spoke, her ship's systems began to change. Hidden compartments opened, revealing advanced technology. The ship's outer hull shifted, showing its true form: sleek, powerful, unlike anything the Council races had ever seen. "Send a message to all Council representatives," Jiwo ordered. "Tell them humanity wishes to discuss new terms for our relationship. And make it clear, this is not a request." The news traveled fast across human space. 3 human scientists, Dr. Minji Kang, Dr. Hyunwoo Choi, and Dr. Jisoo Yoon, had been publicly executed at the Galactic Fair on Centauri Prime. Their crime: creating a food system that could feed millions at low cost. The Vrexian Empire, which controlled most food trade in the galaxy, called it unauthorized innovation and killed them without a trial. In Earth Central Command, a vast underground complex beneath the Pacific Ocean, Admiral Taeho Park watched the executions on a large screen. He sat alone in the dimly lit command center, his weathered face showing no emotion as the 3 scientists were placed in shimmering particle fields. Their bodies slowly dissolved, atom by atom. It was said to be painless, but the screens suggested otherwise. When the transmission ended, Admiral Park sat in silence for several minutes. Finally, he pressed a button on his chair. "Junsu," he called to his assistant, "bring in the command council." 20 minutes later, 12 men and women in blue uniforms filed into the room. They represented all major human settlements across Earth and the colonies. Each had spent decades hiding their true feelings behind pleasant smiles while dealing with alien representatives who treated them as inferior beings. "They executed 3 of our best minds today," Admiral Park said simply. "Scientists who were trying to solve hunger across the galaxy." "The Vrexians have gone too far," said General Su Min-yoon, her voice tight with anger. "This cannot stand." Admiral Park nodded. "The question is not if we should respond, but how. For 2 centuries, we have hidden our true capabilities. We have played the role of the galaxy's newest, weakest species. We have built in secret while accepting insults and attacks." He looked at each person in turn. "Is it time to show the galaxy what humanity can really do?" The vote was unanimous. That night, across human space, hidden facilities came to life. On Europa, Jupiter's icy moon, massive doors opened in what aliens thought was a small research station. Beneath the surface of Mars, entire cities of scientists and engineers emerged from hiding. In the rings of Saturn, shipyards began launching vessels unlike any the galaxy had seen before. For generations, humanity had maintained 2 separate technological paths. The public one, shown to alien species, made humans appear to be struggling with basic space travel and defense systems. The secret path, hidden from all outsiders, had advanced far beyond anything the Galactic Council races had achieved. Back on the Perseverance, Captain Jaiwo Kim received new orders. Her ship would be the first to receive the hidden upgrades that would reveal its true form. "Captain, engineering team is ready to begin the transformation," reported Officer Juno Park. Jaiwo nodded. "Take us into the shadow of the moon." No observers. As the ship moved behind Earth's moon, engineers went to work. Panels opened throughout the vessel, revealing advanced systems that had been hidden inside seemingly ordinary walls. The ship's power core, which aliens believed was a simple fusion reactor, reconfigured to show its true nature, a zero-point energy system that drew power from the fabric of space itself. "How long has this been hidden on my own ship?" Jaiwo asked, watching as her ordinary-looking bridge transformed around her. "Since it was built, Captain," Juno replied. "Every human vessel has 2 forms, what we show the galaxy, and what we really are." Across the ship, weapons systems came online that could target individual circuits in an enemy vessel. Defense shields appeared that could adapt to any attack. Engines transformed to reveal their ability to bend space rather than just travel through it. Meanwhile, in his office deep under the Pacific, Admiral Park prepared a message to be sent to all human outposts. "For 200 years, we have waited for acceptance. For 200 years, we have endured insults, attacks, and theft. We have watched our people die while smiling at their killers across negotiation tables. We have been patient beyond reason." He paused, thinking of the 3 scientists who had died trying to feed the hungry. That patience ends today. Humanity will no longer pretend to be what we are not. We will no longer accept being treated as lesser beings. The galaxy has mistaken our restraint for weakness. They will now learn what we are truly capable of. He sent the message, then turned to a small wooden box on his desk. Inside was a simple metal key, the physical activation code for Protocol Omega, humanity's hidden fleet. Admiral Park picked up the key and held it tightly. Let them remember this day, he whispered. The day humanity's patience finally snapped. The Zellner Imperium was known across the galaxy for taking what they wanted. Their warships were massive, their weapons powerful, and their warriors feared. When they decided to seize the human mining outpost in the Tau Ceti system, they expected little resistance. Humans were considered weak, their ships outdated, their weapons primitive. Commander Dex of the Zellner battle fleet sent a simple message to the small human station orbiting the fourth planet: surrender or be destroyed. The human response was equally brief: we decline both options. Dex laughed, showing his sharp teeth to his bridge crew. Brave but foolish. Prepare main weapons. The Zellner fleet of 20 warships moved forward. Their scanners showed only 5 small human vessels protecting the station, outdated ships with weak shields and basic weapons. It would be over in minutes. Enemy ships approaching, reported Dex's second-in-command. Wait, something is happening. On the main screen, the small human ships began to change. Panels shifted, revealing hidden systems. Their hulls glowed with strange energy. They seemed to flicker, as if not fully in normal space. What trick is this? Dex demanded. Fire all weapons. The Zellner ships launched their attack missiles, energy beams, and gravity weapons that could tear apart most vessels. But the human ships simply weren't there when the attacks arrived. They moved in ways that defied physics, appearing to phase through solid matter. Impossible, shouted Dex. No species has phase shift technology. The human ships responded. Not with the weak laser weapons the Zellner expected, but with beams that bent space itself around the Zellner vessels. 3 Zellner warships simply ceased to exist, their matter converted to energy in an instant. All ships, retreat. Dex ordered, panic in his voice. But it was too late. The human vessels moved faster than any ship Dex had ever seen, surrounding the Zellner fleet. More strange weapons fired, not destroying the ships but somehow shutting down their systems. In exactly 3 minutes and 12 seconds, the entire Zellner fleet was disabled, floating powerless in space. A transmission came from the lead human ship: your crew will be safely evacuated. Your ships will be dismantled. Return to your homeworld with this message: the time of taking from humans has ended. On Centauri Prime, Counselor Vrex received urgent messages from across 12 sectors of space. Everywhere, the same story was unfolding: human ships revealing advanced technology and easily defeating the galaxy's most powerful forces. This cannot be, she whispered, her 3 eyes blinking rapidly in distress. Their technology was centuries behind ours. We've inspected their ships for decades. You saw what we wanted you to see, said a quiet voice behind her. Vrex spun around to find Miho Lee, the human representative to the Galactic Council, standing in her private chamber. He was a small man with gentle eyes and gray hair, always polite, always humble. The kind of representative that powerful species like Vrex's rarely bothered to notice. How did you get in here? She demanded. The security. Your security systems are impressive, Miho said with a small smile. But not to us. Not anymore. He walked to her viewing screen, where reports of human ships defeating much larger alien fleets continued to appear. For 200 years, humans have been developing in secret, he explained. When we first joined the galactic community, we saw how newer species were treated, exploited, controlled, kept down. So we showed you old engines while building new ones. We revealed weak weapons while creating stronger ones. We let you believe we were struggling with basic space travel while we learned to bend reality itself. Vrex's skin paled. Why reveal yourselves now? Why not continue hiding? Because you executed 3 innocent scientists for trying to feed the hungry, Miho said, his gentle voice hardening. Because you destroyed our colonies and called it an accident. Because you took our patience for weakness. Across the galaxy, similar conversations were happening as human representatives revealed the truth to shocked alien leaders. Dormant human technology activated on thousands of worlds. Ships transformed. Hidden bases emerged. The galaxy learned that humanity had not been the weak, struggling species they had mocked for centuries. They had been a sleeping giant, watching, learning, and building in silence. And now that giant was fully awake. "What will you do to us?" Counselor Vrex asked, fear making her voice tremble. Miho looked at her with those gentle eyes that now seemed so much older and wiser than she had ever noticed. "Nothing you did not do to others," he said. "But perhaps with more mercy." Within 3 days, humanity's hidden fleet emerged across the galaxy. The ships appeared suddenly, as if stepping out of nowhere. They were beautiful in a strange way, smooth silver vessels that seemed to ripple like water when they moved. They did not attack wildly or destroy planets. They were careful and precise. On the Vrexian colony world of Nexus 7, a farming planet where human slaves had worked the fields for generations, 5 human ships appeared in orbit. The Vrexian overseers expected bombardment. Instead, transport ships landed, and human soldiers with advanced armor quickly secured the main buildings. No shots were fired. The slaves were freed, the overseers arrested. Similar scenes played out across 100 worlds. Military bases were disabled. Weapon platforms were shut down. Ships carrying civilians were carefully moved to safety before their military escorts were methodically taken apart. Admiral Tejo Park led the most important mission himself. His flagship, the Resolute, appeared in orbit around Vrexia Prime, the homeworld of the Empire that had executed the 3 human scientists. 50 other human vessels surrounded the planet. In the Grand Palace of the Vrexian High Command, General Kraz, the military leader who had ordered countless attacks on human settlements, prepared for the worst. "They will burn our cities," he told his officers. "They will destroy our world. It is what any species would do after being treated as we treated them." The human ships launched thousands of small drones that spread across the planet. The Vrexians fired at them, but their weapons passed through the drones as if they weren't solid. Within hours, the drones had disabled every military installation on the planet without harming a single Vrexian civilian. Then Admiral Park's ship landed directly in the capital city's central square. The ship was enormous, stretching nearly a kilometer in length, yet it touched down gently, without disturbing even a single leaf on the decorative trees. Admiral Park walked out alone. He was an older man with gray hair and eyes that had seen too much suffering. He wore a simple blue uniform with no weapons. "I expected you to kill us all," General Kraz said when Park reached the palace steps. "That is because you judge us by what you would do," Park replied calmly. "We are not you." In the palace's great hall, Park established a field headquarters. Tables were set up where human officers began organizing files and evidence. "What is happening?" asked Kraz, watching in confusion. "Justice," said Park. "Not revenge." Over the following days, the human forces arrested specific Vrexian leaders who had ordered attacks on human colonies or supported the enslavement of humans. Regular citizens were left alone. There were trials, with evidence presented and defenders allowed to speak. Those found guilty were sentenced to work rebuilding the worlds they had damaged. On Earth, President Jihan Ryu addressed humanity for the first time since Protocol Omega began. "For too long, we hid our true capabilities," she said, standing before the old United Nations building. "We did this not out of fear, but because we saw how power corrupts in the galaxy. We saw how advanced species exploited those they considered beneath them. We chose a different path." She gestured to a display showing human ships helping evacuate a world whose sun was dying, a world that had once attacked Earth. "We could have conquered. We chose to help. We could have destroyed. We chose to build. This is humanity's response to centuries of patience tested." Across human space, hidden technologies were finally revealed. Medical centers showed healing pods that could cure almost any disease or injury. Factories unveiled matter converters that could create food and materials from base elements, eliminating scarcity. Environmental teams deployed systems that could clean poisoned worlds and restore dead ecosystems. All technologies that humanity had developed but kept hidden, knowing how they would be misused by the power-hungry council races. On a small moon where homeless refugees from a dozen species had gathered, human ships arrived bringing not weapons but homes, food, and medical care. A young alien child watched wide-eyed as a human doctor healed her injured arm with a small silver device. "Why are you helping us?" she asked. "Your people were treated badly." The doctor smiled gently. "Because helping is what makes us human," she said. "And we've waited a very long time to show the galaxy who we really are." As news spread of humanity's actions, of mercy where cruelty was expected, of healing where harm was anticipated, the galaxy began to understand just how completely they had misunderstood the quiet species from Earth. 5 years passed since the day humanity revealed its true power to the galaxy. The old Galactic Council no longer existed. In its place stood the new Interstellar Cooperative, where all species worked together. In this new system, a species gained influence not by how strong its weapons were, but by how much it helped others. Today was the first official meeting of the cooperative. The Great Hall on New Terra was filled with representatives from 300 different species. Some had once been enemies. Now they sat side by side, still cautious but willing to try a new way. Jaiwo Kim, once the captain of a diplomatic vessel, now served as humanity's ambassador. She walked slowly to the center of the room, her simple blue uniform standing out among the colorful robes and armor of the alien representatives. The room fell silent as she reached the speaking platform. Many aliens still feared humans. They had seen what human technology could do: ships that moved through solid matter, weapons that could disable entire fleets in minutes, medical systems that could bring the nearly dead back to life. For 5 years, they had waited to see what humans would do with such power. "Friends," Jaiwo began, her voice soft but carrying to every corner of the vast room. 5 years ago, humanity's patience finally reached its end. For centuries before that, we accepted mistreatment. We endured insults and attacks. We watched our people die. She looked around the room, meeting the eyes, stalks, and sensory organs of dozens of different species. "Many of you believed our patience was weakness. You were wrong. Patience was humanity's greatest strength. It gave us time to build, to learn, to prepare. Not for war, though we were ready for that too, but for something better." On large screens around the room, images appeared of human ships helping evacuate worlds threatened by natural disasters, of human doctors healing alien children, of human engineers rebuilding cities destroyed in old conflicts. "We could have conquered the galaxy," Jaiwu continued. "Our technology is far beyond what you knew. We could have taken revenge for every slight, every attack, every human life lost." Many representatives shifted uncomfortably in their seats, remembering how their species had treated humans. "Instead, we chose a different path. We removed those who had caused the most harm. We helped those who had been hurt. Not just humans, but all who suffered under the old system. And then we put away our most dangerous weapons." The screens now showed massive human warships being taken apart piece by piece, their deadly weapons dismantled. "Today, as we begin this new cooperative, I make this promise: humanity will never again stand silent while injustice happens. Our patience has limits. But neither will we become the monsters we once feared." Jaiwu held up a small device, a data crystal containing the plans for human medical technology. "This contains the knowledge to build healing pods that can cure most diseases. It is our gift to the cooperative. Each species here will receive this and other technologies that can help your people. Not weapons, never weapons, but tools to build, heal, and grow." A murmur of surprise ran through the crowd. Such technology was worth more than entire star systems. "In return, we ask only this: remember. Remember what happened when humanity's patience ended. Remember that we chose mercy when we could have chosen vengeance. And should you ever see another species being mistreated as we were, speak up. Do not be silent." When Jaiwu finished speaking, the hall was completely quiet. Then, slowly, one representative stood up. It was the new leader of the Vrexian people, whose predecessors had executed human scientists and enslaved human colonists. "My people did terrible things to yours," he said, his voice shaking. "Why give us this gift? Why not make us suffer as we made you suffer?" Jaiwu smiled gently. "Because that is not who we are. Humanity's strength was never in our weapons or our technology. It was in our ability to endure, to hope for better days, and when those days finally came, to forgive. One by one, other representatives stood. Species that had once been bitter enemies, races that had fought for centuries, all standing together. The applause began slowly, then built until it filled the massive hall. As Jaiwo looked out at the gathered representatives, she thought about how far they had all come. The galaxy would never again mistake human restraint for weakness. But more importantly, they would never forget the mercy that followed when that restraint finally ended. A new understanding had begun. Not based on fear or power, but on something far stronger, respect freely given, not taken by force. And perhaps, in time, even friendship.